Welcome back, everybody. In today's video, we're going to do some fact checking. We're going to look at the evidence. The facts speak for themselves. Now, a lot of you might have watched the presidential address some days ago. And how did it go down? Let's watch.
The behavior of Democrats last night was completely disgraceful and demonstrated how severely out of touch they are with the American public. It was the most shameful moment in the history of presidential addresses in that beautiful chamber. In what was supposed to be a unifying moment for our country, Democrat members of Congress instead screamed at the President of the United States, who was just overwhelmingly reelected by their constituents, walked out of the chamber, and worst of all, they disrespected the American people. Democrats didn't stand to keep men out of women's sports. They couldn't even clap for a girl who got her head smashed in by a man on a volleyball court. Democrats didn't stand for an innocent and beautiful child who is surviving brain cancer. They opposed eliminating taxes on tips and Social Security. They didn't stand in favor of cutting taxes for hardworking Americans. They couldn't even clap for two mothers whose daughters were killed by illegal aliens.
Now, I watched it myself as well. It was disgusting. I understand you have a hatred for the president because he's going to reveal all the dirt, and that's why they didn't want him to become president. That's why they're trying to get him out of the way, because he's going to be the one that's going to reveal all the robbing and stealing that the Democrats have done for all the years. The chaos and mayhem. And show who they are really for. Who are they really supporting? Well, let's watch some more. Here it is.
I thought it was one of the most pathetic, petty, shameful things I've ever witnessed. And it went on and on and on. And, you know, back in the UK, we have Parliament. It gets very rowdy, very noisy. They all have a pop at each other. They lock horns. What you would never see is somebody like that 13-year-old boy, a brain cancer survivor, who's been through 12 surgeries, I think, who's being there, having his dream lived out on global television, and Donald Trump has facilitated that. Just get up and applaud that boy. The fact they couldn't even do that, I thought was just contemptible. I really did. And the Democrats have got to take a good, long, hard look at themselves, because the stupid signs, the not getting up for the poor families of these murdered people, the way they treated that boy, the walkouts, the silly Instagram stuff afterwards.
I mean, the evidence are right there. You guys wanted facts? You guys saw it for yourselves. You don't need me to say it. The facts speak for themselves. They don't care for you. They didn't stand up for a kid that survived cancer. At least applaud for that, like they said. The girl that got her head bashed in the volleyball court by a guy. At least stand up for the people, for the citizens. You don't want to stand up for the president, that's fine. But at least stand up for the American citizens, for the people. No, they're not going to stand not even for that. So who are you supporting? Who are you really supporting? Besides yourselves, who are you really supporting? And as you saw in the first clip, they all voted against, all the Dems voted against the no tax on tip. That's you, the delivery driver. That's where most of your money, and that's what you're depending on, is on customer tips. So they're against you. But Kamala came out, she's a Democrat. They were supporting her, right? Kamala came out and she was also agreeing the no tax on tip. Remember that? And we're only going to go after the rich people that are making $400,000 a year or more. Remember that? So you're showing that you're against the rich. That's the claim. But now we're seeing that you're voting against no tax on tips as well. So you're going against the poor and middle class as well. So let's put it all in perspective. You're against the rich and against the poor and the middle class. So you're against all three classes. So if that's the case, who are you really supporting? Who are you supporting then? You're against everybody. Except yourselves. You only care for yourselves, period. But in reality, they do have these big companies. That's who they like to have. They don't care for them. They want them there for their purposes. For their benefit. They're like DOORDASH. DOORDASH that be robbing, that be stealing, so is the Dems. The evidence show that. They go hand in hand. So think of the Dems like DOORDASH. They're like brother and sister. There it is. You're against everybody. The only people that you care for is yourselves. You don't care about anybody in America except yourselves. Period.
All Republicans voted yes. All Democrats voted no against the American people. Let's get into this a little bit here so we're clear. The vote cleared the way to enact major elements of President Trump's domestic agenda and escalated a bitter fight among Republicans over what federal programs to shrink to finance and to finance major tax cuts. I believe this also included the no tax on tips that Trump promised. In fact, somebody had written this here: no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security. Keep something in mind: the Democrats voted 100% against this. If anyone has been unclear up to this point that the Democrats are against the American people, against your family, and against this country, and you're just walking in the door and you're not 100% clear about it, take a look at this vote that I'm showing you right now.
You can't tell me nowadays, you can't tell me, show me the facts and show me the proof. It's right there. And guess what? They don't care. They cannot make it any more clearer that they are for themselves, and you guys still want to be on their side. How crazy that is. How crazy that is. Especially delivery drivers. How crazy that is. Enough said. Catch you guys later.